Hello, my name's Dr. Katherine Dawson. I'm a clinical neuropsychologist and I wanted to talk about sleep. Now, we all want better sleep, whether that's longer in bed or less broken sleep, but getting enough sleep can be quite a challenge, and it can be an even bigger challenge when we're stressed, and yet that's the time when we need it the most. I wanted to talk about some of the common pitfalls with sleep and what sorts of action plans can be put in place to help. So firstly, I wanted to talk about the brain and clocks. Now, we all have access throughout the day to a watch or our mobile phone. It tells us the time and that informs what we're going to do for the day. But arguably, probably the most important clock we have is our master clock, which is inside of our brain. So if we take a brain and we cross-section it, deep in the heart of our brain, just here, is a part of our brain called the hypothalamus. Now, this contributes to the rise and fall of hormones in our body and brain. It's also responsible for daily rhythms in our body, so our alertness, our hunger, our sleep-wake cycle. Now, in times of stress, even though that we can't see it, these cycles can be disturbed and this can lead to a number of problems. Also, the aim is, as we're kind of nearing the end of the day, what we want is our stress hormones to reduce, allowing our sleepiness hormones to kick in. If that doesn't happen, then it disrupts our natural body rhythms, and then this can lead to more difficulty sleeping. Now, the biggest mistake when trying to work on sleep problems is to look just at what is happening before we fall to sleep. And whilst that's really important, it's a bit like a mechanic repairing a car that's broken, but just focusing on the tyres rather than looking at the overall vehicle. And we also need to look overall at our habits, our routines throughout the day. We also need to change our mindset a little, in that there's a lot we can do ourselves before looking for something like a medication to make us sleep. And don't get me wrong, it can be really useful in the short term, particularly if people are struggling. But there are things that would benefit from us changing behaviours for a longer term benefits. Plus, as humans, we learn best by doing, so getting into routines that then become habits become less effort on our part. Now, what we're interested in is how people are managing with stress, what they're eating and drinking, exercise levels, what they're using their bedroom for, so the bedroom should only be used for sleep and sex, and also how you prime your brain and tell it it's time to relax and unwind. They're really important. With this latter point, we have to talk about our mobile phones, and whilst they are a lifeline to connection, particularly important given the current restrictions we face, they can be our biggest nemesis for sleep. So in a 2015 study, a large proportion of respondents, 71%, said they usually sleep with or next to their mobile phones. 3% said they sleep with their device in their hand. Whatever you do, the moment you switch on and look at your phone, there's a specific part of your brain that lights up like a torch. This is the front of our brain, so it's this bit here. And this is a really complicated part of our brain, but it's responsible for doing, for thinking, for feeling, for acting. And when we use it, we light it up. And our attention is focused not then on priming our brains for sleep, but it's on who said what to who, latest statistics of X, whatever's interesting will pop up. And we all know that we can all lose hours on social media, internet shopping, doing whatever. And in the meantime, your brain won't know whether it's settling down for the night or getting warmed up for a mini phone marathon. So we would like to set a challenge, and we would invite you to gradually move your phone away from your bed over the next 3 days. I think it might be possible to hear the shouts of protest in the background, such as, it's my alarm clock. What if someone wants to get hold of me? I have to be able to check my work emails. What if there's an emergency? That's another talk. But essentially, we would invite you to make yourselves a bit more unavailable. The point being, we strongly believe that by changing the environment, our behaviour alters in a lot more of a fluid way alongside this, and this in turn gives your brain a chance to naturally unwind and prepare for sleep. And science says when we're asleep, our brains can do jobs it cannot do in the day, and these jobs can be varied and linked. So research says that during sleep, the brain triggers a cleaning system. So it flushes waste out of the brain via the fluid that cushions the brain. But it can only do this if the brain is hydrated enough. So it's best to avoid caffeine before bedtime, because then you're helping your sleepiness messengers in your brain and reduce dehydration. Now, our colleague, Dr. Lisa Gatenby, who's a nutritionist, is going to do a talk on the next talk that we release on food, stress levels and sleep. There are other strategies regarding what to do in the day which will set your brain up for a better night's sleep in terms of anxiety and stress management, and Dr. Claire West will talk about this in a following clip. But for now, we'll leave you with one of our favourite Minion sayings, which is, I love sleeping, but I never want to go to sleep early. I stay up late every night, regret it every morning, and then I do it all again. I think we can all relate to that, but there's also lots of things that we can do differently to help get a better quality of sleep. And good luck on the phone challenge.